Welcome to the official podcast series by Potenza, where innovation meets insight. In this series, we dive deep into the world of SAP, explore the power of robotic process automation, and unlock the true potential of data analytics. Whether you're a tech enthusiast, a business leader, or just curious about the digital transformation shaping our world, you're in the right place. Tune in, stay curious, and let's explore the future of enterprise technology together. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us on YouTube for more powerful insights. Now, let's get into today's episode.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are cracking open a topic that might sound a little technical on the surface, but it's really at the strategic core of enterprise IT.
It really is. We're talking about Cloud Master Data Management, Cloud MDM.
Exactly. And, you might hear that acronym MDM and your eyes just glaze over. You think, okay, that's an infrastructure headache. That's an IT project.
Right. Something to be contained in the data center.
But what our stack of sources makes so incredibly clear is that this whole discipline, it has fundamentally moved beyond that. It is now, it's a non-negotiable strategic imperative for any company that's trying to deal with just these massive, exponentially growing data volumes.
And not just deal with them, but actually use them for analytics and the big one, artificial intelligence.
Right. So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We need to unpack precisely why Cloud MDM is now the key differentiator. It's become the engine room, really, for getting a competitive advantage in this, AI-driven economy.
It's not optional anymore. It's the foundation everything else is built on.
To put some real numbers on that, just to set the stakes, the market growth here is just, it's staggering. The MDM market is projected to surge from about $18 billion in 2025 to over $43 billion by 2030.
Wow. That's a huge jump.
It's a compound annual growth rate of almost 19%. So when you see growth like that, the conversation for any executive, it's no longer if we should do this.
It's how quickly can we get it done right? And that speed, that velocity, it's all driven by this subtle but really profound shift in what MDM even is. I mean, the core purpose is the same, right? It's the discipline that ensures consistency, accuracy, accessibility for your most critical data.
Yeah.
Your customer list, your product catalog.
A golden list of everything.
The golden list. But the crucial difference now is the delivery model. It's all delivered through this flexible cloud native architecture. And that simple change, it completely transforms its function from like a static database to a dynamic living service.
That distinction you just made, static database versus dynamic service, that's really the heart of the paradigm shift, isn't it?
Absolutely.
We're moving this whole idea of data management from being this cumbersome cost center to a genuine value driver. So let's really dig into that contrast. The old way versus what the cloud enables now.
Well, the old way, the traditional on-premises MDM, it was just so capital intensive, so rigid.
You mean buying all the servers and hardware?
Exactly. Massive upfront capital investment, true CapEx. Servers, storage, cooling, the whole deal.
Okay.
Plus a dedicated IT team just to keep the lights on.
And you were always planning for the absolute peak load, right? So most of the time that expensive gear was just sitting there underutilized.
Precisely. And the implementation cycles.
Yeah.
They could easily stretch from 12 to, 24 months. So by the time you actually launched, the business problem you were trying to solve had already changed.
You were always a step behind.
Always playing catch up.
Yeah.
Which is why it was seen as a cost center. It was something you had to do, not something that generated returns.
Okay, so now with Cloud MDM, that whole equation just gets flipped on its head. We're talking about leveraging elastic infrastructure.
Elasticity is the magic word here. It just dramatically reduces the complexity and the cost. Instead of those long, high-risk projects, cloud deployments use pre-configured environments, better tools, and they compress that timeline from, 2 years down to maybe 3 to 6 months to actually be live in production.
That's a huge difference in time to value.
It's maybe the single most compelling metric you could show a COO.
And you need that speed. I mean, you can't wait 18 months for clean data when your entire business is trying to transform, when regulatory demands are changing, and when you're getting flooded with new data from IoT devices, from social media. Legacy systems just choke on that.
They absolutely do. And look at the IT landscape today. Our sources are showing that something like 89% of enterprises are using multi-cloud strategies. 80% are using hybrid cloud.
So your data is everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
You can't solve a multi-cloud data problem with a single on-premises box. It just doesn't work. Cloud MDM is architected specifically for that complex distributed world.
So if that first part was about, say, operational agility and just being faster, this next part is really about the strategic payoff.
Right.
How this new foundation actually enables a true competitive advantage through analytics and AI. This is where, leaders betting big on machine learning really need to lean in.
Well, it's the old saying, right? Garbage in, garbage out. The quality of your AI is only ever as good as the quality of the data you feed it.
And Cloud MDM is the cleaning crew.
It's the ultimate cleaning crew.
Okay, so when you're running these huge analytics jobs, the spikes in data volume can be insane. How does the cloud architecture actually solve that problem of scale?
It's that dynamic allocation of resources we mentioned. So imagine a retailer, it's Black Friday.
Right, the biggest day of the year.
In the past, you'd have to buy enough hardware to handle that one massive peak, and it would sit there all year. With the cloud, the platform just dynamically scales up to handle that huge volume spike, and then when demand subsides, it scales right back down.
So your analytics work is never constrained by the physical hardware you happen to own.
Never. You get the insights when they matter most.
That makes sense for volume. But what about the quality side? I mean, traditional MDM involved so much manual work, people just grinding through spreadsheets, trying to resolve duplicates.
Oh, it was painful. And this is where AI stops being just a consumer of clean data and actually starts generating clean data. Traditional matching used these very rigid, brittle rules.
Like if the names don't match exactly, it's not a match.
Exactly. Cloud MDM uses sophisticated AI algorithms, probabilistic matching too, automatically spot anomalies and find duplicates with way more accuracy. He can figure out that St. John Street is the same as St. John's Star.
So it's actually learning the nuances in your data.
Precisely. And it learns from the corrections humans make, so the quality model gets better and better over time. It can even flag potential issues before they poison an analytics project, which is just a massive leap forward.
And all that reliability feeds into this core concept of the golden record. Can you explain why having that single authoritative version of something is so much more valuable when it's managed in the cloud?
Sure, let's take a simple operational example. Your sales team has a customer, Jane Smith, in their CRM. Your logistics team has a Jane Smith in their ERP system.
But the shipping addresses are slightly different.
And one is out of date. That tiny inconsistency costs real money. It leads to shipping delays, a bad customer experience, maybe even lost inventory. The golden record just eliminates that conflict.
Because everyone is pulling from the same trusted source in real time.
In real time. And that single view enables really sophisticated analytics. You can build a flawless customer 360 view for personalization. You can analyze product margins minute by minute. You can do real-time supply chain risk assessments. You're giving your machine learning algorithms the cleanest possible context.
Which means the predictions they make are actually trustworthy.
Exactly. They're reliable.
Okay, let's pivot to the bottom line here. Because no matter how cool the tech is, the C-suite needs to see the ROI. And the total cost of ownership, TCO, seems to be a huge part of the story.
It's the cornerstone of the whole financial argument. You're fundamentally shifting from capital expenditure, that big, unpredictable expense of buying hardware, to a predictable, usage-based operational expenditure.
Like a utility bill.
Essentially, yes. And the research backs this up. Organizations can often reduce their TCO by 30 to 40% compared to trying to do this themselves on-prem. You just shed all those hardware costs, the maintenance, the specialized staff.
And beyond the direct savings, there's just the sheer necessity of it. I mean, enterprise data is doubling every 2 years. If you want to integrate data from thousands of new IoT sensors on your factory floor...
You need a system that can absorb that growth today,
right,
not in 6 months when the new server budget gets approved. And that ties right into resilience. When you're on a major cloud platform, you get redundancy, high availability, disaster recovery, all built in. Stuff that's incredibly expensive to replicate yourself.
Which brings up security. That was always the big hurdle, right? Putting your most critical data in the cloud. Is that still a valid concern?
It's a natural question, but the dynamic is completely flipped. Modern cloud platforms offer security, encryption, identity management that often exceeds what most companies can do on their own.
And what about compliance? Things like GDPR.
That's another place the cloud really helps. These platforms make it much easier to handle data residency and sovereignty rules. If you need your European customer data to stay in Europe, you can do that with a few clicks, which is much harder with traditional infrastructure.
Let's connect these benefits directly to the C-suite. For the CEO, what does this actually mean?
For the CEO, it's about two things: visibility and velocity. They get a high-fidelity, real-time view of the entire enterprise. They can assess a new market, integrate an acquisition, adjust global pricing, all based on trusted, unified data, not stale reports.
And for the COO, who's worried about operations and risk,
So much operational risk hides in bad data. Shipping to the wrong address, ordering from the wrong supplier. These simple errors add up to massive costs. The golden record eliminates that, and it provides the audit trail you need for compliance.
Okay, and finally, the CTO. What's in it for them?
Architectural simplification, big time. They get to retire all this expensive custom-built data plumbing. They get scalability and resilience built in, which frees up their best engineers to work on things that actually differentiate the business instead of just patching old infrastructure.
All right, so the business case is approved, everyone's on board, but now comes the execution, which is where things can go wrong. What does a good implementation roadmap look like?
It has to be methodical. You start with a really honest assessment of where you are right now. Map your data flows, figure out who owns what, understand how good or bad your data actually is.
Then you develop the strategy.
Step 2, yes, a cloud-aligned strategy.
Right.
You decide which data domain, customer, product, whatever, is going to deliver the fastest value, and you start there.
And I'm guessing platform selection is more than just picking a vendor from a list.
Oh, absolutely. That's step 3, and it has to involve a rigorous proof of concept with your own data. You have to validate that the platform can handle your specific mess.
And the last couple of steps are more about people than software, right?
The most critical steps, I'd argue. Step 4 is establishing governance, defining data ownership, setting quality standards, and step 5 is implementing in phases. You scale gradually.
Okay, let's talk more about that. You mentioned risk. Our sources point to 3 really critical pitfalls that can just completely derail these projects. What's the first one?
But the biggest one, and the most common, is trying to do a big bang migration.
Boiling the ocean.
Exactly. The temptation is to migrate everything, customer, product, supplier, all at once. And it almost always leads to paralysis or total failure. These legacy systems are just way more tangled than anyone thinks.
So the phased approach is key. What's the second big pitfall?
Overlooking the organizational governance piece. You can buy the best software in the world, but if you don't define who owns the data and give them the authority to enforce quality, the project will fail. Technology needs an operational framework to live in.
And the final one, which feels a bit more abstract, is change management.
But it's so important. You're asking people to change how they work, to adopt new protocols, embrace new responsibilities. If you don't invest in training and communication and really secure buy-in from the frontline users,
They'll just go back to their old spreadsheets.
they'll default right back to their familiar, inconsistent spreadsheets, and your shiny new system will sit unused.
The benefits of this really do translate across pretty much every industry. Let's make it tangible with a few examples. In retail.
In retail, it's all about enabling a true omnichannel strategy. It's how you guarantee that the price, the product availability, the customer experience is perfectly consistent, whether someone's on your website, your app, or in a physical store.
And in, say, financial services.
Oh, it's absolutely critical there. It provides that single customer view they need for everything, for relationship management, for risk assessment, and for satisfying all those tough regulatory rules.
Right. And healthcare seems like another obvious one.
Hugely important. It's crucial for creating those comprehensive, error-free patient records that can follow a person across different hospitals and doctors. It can literally be life-critical.
So looking forward, where is all this heading? The trajectory seems to be pointing towards more and more automation.
It is absolutely the rise of what's being called autonomous MDM. We're seeing AI evolve from just being a helpful tool to autonomously managing most of the master data lifecycle.
What does that mean in practice?
It means future platforms will automatically detect, resolve, and fix the quality issues. They'll even optimize data structures on their own without needing constant human intervention.
That's a massive shift. What does that do to the role of the human data steward?
Their job moves up the value chain. It shifts from execution, from manually cleaning up errors, to strategy and exception handling. They become the supervisors of the autonomous system, focusing on the really complex edge cases.
And what about the architecture itself? What's next?
We're going to see multi-cloud harmonization really accelerate. The MDM platform will essentially hide the differences between AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud, presenting one single unified view of your master data, no matter where it physically lives.
It becomes an abstraction layer.
Exactly. And beyond that, Cloud MDM is becoming a core component of these new architectural patterns we're hearing about, like data fabric and data mesh.
Can you just briefly define those for us?
Sure. Think of a data fabric as the tech that sort of stitches together all your different data silos to make them look like one unified thing. A data mesh is more of an organizational approach that decentralizes data ownership.
So data as a product.
Data as a product, managed by different business domains. And in both of those models, Cloud MDM becomes this embedded authoritative service, the single source of truth that's woven right into the blueprint.
What a journey. From this rigid on-prem box to an essential elastic component of modern data architecture. It seems like Cloud MDM is really redefining what's possible with analytics and AI.
It is. The organizations that get this right, the ones that invest in the tech, the governance, and the change management, they're the ones building sustainable, high-speed competitive advantages.
Which leaves us with a provocative thought for you to explore. If the future really does point toward autonomous MDM, where AI is continuously monitoring and automatically fixing data quality, what fundamental changes does that force leadership to make to the very definition of data stewardship? What does it really mean to be a steward when the machines are doing most of the heavy lifting? Thanks for diving deep with us today.
That's a wrap for today's episode of the POTENZA podcast series, where we decode SAP, automate with RPA, and analyze with precision. We hope you found today's conversation insightful and inspiring. If you enjoyed the episode, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and stay tuned for more deep dives into the technologies transforming tomorrow's enterprise. Got questions or ideas for a future episode? Drop them in the comments, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time. Thank you.